reputation, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to formally welcome you to the 2021 ACE and ALA conference. We are coming to you live from various parts of the state of Arkansas, the great state of Arkansas. And I, for one, am very happy to welcome you to the next 2 days of hearing from so very many rock stars in the field of adult education here. My name is Carol Berth. I work as Director of Adult Education at Phillips Community College of the University of Arkansas here in Helena, West Helena, Arkansas, way over on the, the right side of the state, close to Mississippi, for those of you who may not know where we are. And this year, I also serve as your ACE president and one of the many, many organizers of this conference. So you guys have done a great job, a fantastic job so far of doing what I was about to mention next, which is just a tiny bit of housekeeping. Please make sure that your sound is muted. I would love to continue seeing your faces if you're into that sort of thing. But make sure that while our speakers and presenters are working today, that your sound is muted. We have people monitoring the chat boxes for questions and for comments. So unless the speaker directly welcomes verbal comments, please use that particular space to ask questions, and I promise you we will get to them. So that being said, y'all be patient with my technology prowess now. I do the best I can with what I have. So I want you to consider this your conference. We are definitely among friends and colleagues here, and getting to clarity, getting to questions, all of that good stuff is encouraged. And I hope you therefore feel properly welcome to be here. Our theme this year is resilience to reinvention, the transformation in the world of adult education. I think we could all agree that the worldwide events of these last couple of years have certainly required us to grow and to flex new muscles as we figure out new ways to reach and teach all of our various populations. Our program's ability to figure out new solutions to new and to old problems has been really paramount in reaching the goals that we set up for ourselves as programs and as an entity within the state. It has transformed us, and I think it has transformed our programs, and it transforms us still. We continue to be an integral part, adult education, of our communities because of the way that we respond to its needs. So I give each of you a virtual pat on the back, or a hug if you need one, properly masked and whatnot, because you are valued and needed, and we appreciate everything that you do for your program and for your communities. If you found your way here, then you've done a fantastic job of navigating technology so far, so congratulations on that. The same webpage that brought you here will also give you access to all of our sessions today and tomorrow. So if you have any questions, please be sure to consult this particular page. There's also a Zoom room for lost and or curious folks who may have some questions about some pieces of technology or accessing some of the speakers or presenters today. And I hope you will go to that section for guidance on how to get around. Hopefully, you won't need to make use of it, but it is there for your use if needed. Each session will have a speaker, and we'll also have a facilitator to assist both the presenter and his or her audience. So we hope we are well prepared for whatever is thrown at us today, but we hope that you will also grant us your patience and long suffering as we work very diligently to bring you a fantastic conference. I certainly don't want to be remiss in properly thanking the folks who have helped put on the conference this year. Our ACE Executive Committee consists of myself, Ms. Darissa Kaufman as Vice President. Darissa, wave to the people. Mr. Scott Sikora as Secretary. Ms. LaCarol Clement as Treasurer. Ms. Ann Bunkowski as Parliamentarian. And the wondrous Ms. Regina Olson as Past President. I also want to give a shout out to our ALA and our AALRC representatives on the committee. Ms. Marcia Taylor as Director of the AALRC, Mr. Rob Pollen as our tech guru, Mr. Klaus New, who is just an all-around sound voice on the committee, and Ms. Nancy Leinhardt, who is Director of ALA, as well as our fearless leader for the state, Dr. Trina Miles. So we want to thank all of these guys for their hard work, their diligence, their commitment to making sure that we bring you the very best of what we can here within the state. I hope you take some time out to thank them for their commitment to making sure that we serve you guys well. All right, if you don't mind, I would actually like to tell you a little bit about ACE. So bear with me as I multiple things here. All right, so the organization was founded back in 1978 to promote and encourage professional growth and provide the opportunity for the exchange of ideas relating to adult education. So it's been around for a good while now. And anyone who is employed by an adult education program here in the state may join ACE. The cost, as you know, this year is $25 for membership. And as an active member, you get to vote in our business meetings, which determines our leadership and some of the things that ACE does around the state. The officers, which include a president, a vice president, secretary, treasurer, and parliamentarian, are elected annually to serve a one-year term. And if you have an interest in serving in some capacity, please reach out to one of your current officers for information, because we certainly would love to have anyone who is interested in joining the committee, working for the committee. We certainly want to encourage that interest. So for those of you who are not on the committee and you wonder how you can help ACE, and you don't believe that committee work is your thing, because it might not be, that's okay. You can still help ACE in a number of ways. You can attend the yearly conference as you are doing this year. We thank you so much for your presence. You can be a presenter at the conference. We always encourage those in the field doing the hard work of adult education each and every year to share their experience and their expertise by presenting. You may choose to give us constructive feedback. This year, at the end of each session, you will have an opportunity to complete a survey. Please do give us your suggestions. We love compliments, but we also love constructive criticism as well. So feel free to let us know how well we're doing, or areas where we can improve through those surveys, or even through an email to a representative on the committee. We'd love to hear from you. You can also recommend or encourage a program to recommend students for the Luther H. Black Scholarship, which we'll hear a little bit more about right now. I always like to remind everyone that the scholarship is available. The Luther H. Black Scholarship recognizes a worthy GED student who possesses outstanding leadership, citizenship, and professional promise. It is named after our father of adult education here in Arkansas. Mr. Black, for many years, led the state adult education office and distinguished himself with an unconditional positive attitude towards his fellow man. I'm sure many of you right now are perhaps thinking about a potential candidate for this scholarship, considering the criteria here, please do feel free to jot a name down. Check the website. The AALRC website has additional information and requirements for the Memorial Scholarship. And that May 15th deadline is what you're shooting for. So we would absolutely love to have more programs help students submit applications for this particular scholarship for our GED graduates. Are there any questions about the scholarship as we proceed? Or indeed about anything that I've mentioned thus far?
Hey, Carol, where can they find an application for the scholarship?
The application for the scholarship is on the AALRC website. It is under, I forget the tab it's under. Marcia, can you?
I just put I put the link in the chat box.
Excellent.
And it is if you just scroll down to the bottom of that page, you'll see a link to it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So the link for that is in the chat box. You can copy and save that link, and we'd be happy to get as many applications as possible as we're able to afford, actually, for this particular scholarship. So thank you very much. And thank you for putting that there, Marcia. One of the most enjoyable things I get to do as ACE president is to read all the wonderful applications that we get for awards each year. As you may possibly well know, because I probably sent you guys a million emails about this, as you may possibly know, we give yearly awards in the areas of outstanding paraprofessional, outstanding instructor, outstanding adult education supporter, and outstanding director. This year, we got a number of amazing entrants to and for these awards. And I think that the awards committee did a fantastic job in selecting some real winners. Before we get into our regular awards, however, I'm going to stop sharing here for a moment because we have a real treat today as well. Mr. Javon Williams from our friends at Burlington English is presenting for the first time ESL Awards for some of our outstanding ESL students. And so at this moment, I am going to turn it over for a moment here to Mr. Williams.
Thank you so much, Carol. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I am super excited about this award.
Like this, because you're like.
Hold on one second, Mr. Williams. Okay. I think we got it. Go for it.
I'm super excited about this award this morning because this is the very first, the inaugural Excellence in ESL Awards from Burlington English. So we're super excited about recognizing these awesome adult learners. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we'll get this party started. All right. So again, this is the very first Excellence in ESL Award presented by yours truly, me, from Burlington English. And our first honoree is, drum roll please, Miss Sandra Crawford from the Fayetteville Education Center in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and she was nominated by Ahu Gogdemir. Hopefully I said that correct. And here's what Ahu said about Miss Crawford. Sandra has been my ESL student for a while. After she lost her husband, she realized that she needed to learn English and find a job. She also wants to be a good role model for her teenage daughter. She has improved her English and digital literacy so much that she attends classes with a tablet now. She has been an active user of BE, and also she is one of the rare students who discovered audiobooks on BE. She has read a lot of books. So again, we'd like to recognize Miss Sandra Crawford from the Fayetteville Adult Education Center in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And our second award honoree is, drum roll please. Hope y'all are liking my drumming skills because I am a drummer. Here we go. Miss Lucerno Franco from North Arkansas College in Berryville, Arkansas. And she was nominated by Miss Amy Roberts. And here is what Amy had to say about her. Lucero works very hard during her time in and out of class. She not only works through the Burlington courses, but also takes very detailed notes in a separate notebook. She truly wants to make the best learning choices possible. She works a full-time job at the Tyson plant and then comes to class multiple nights a week after work and works at home doing homework and working online with BE. So again, we want to recognize Miss Lucero Franco from North Arkansas College in Berryville, Arkansas. Our third honoree is, drum roll please, Miss Khadija Mauti from Fayetteville Adult Education Center in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Again, nominated by Miss Ahu Godemir. And here is what Ahu said about Khadija. During COVID, on all our Zoom classes, Khadija was present. I was using BE and assigned my students for the week. She was doing all her online work and even doing more on BE. She has done a lot of distance learning hours in only 9 months. So we, again, want to recognize Miss Khadija Mauti from the Fayetteville Education Center in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We got one more. So for the last time, drum roll, please. Last but not least, Mr. Juan Ramos from the Northwest Arkansas Community College in Bentonville, Arkansas. He was nominated by Miss Thora Peters. And here is what Miss Peters had to say about Juan. Juan Ramos has faithfully attended my ESL classes since he enrolled in August. He has set aside time from his work as a trucker to focus on his English studies, and he is determined to progress. He has been using Burlington English to supplement his work in the classroom and has enjoyed using the readers. When I've assigned reading work in BE, he's usually already finished the sections I've already chosen. I would love to see Juan's pursuit of English, fluency in English recognized. And for that reason, I am nominating him. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to recognize Mr. Juan Ramos from the Northwest Arkansas Community College in Bentonville, Arkansas. Let's give it up for all of our award winners. And for our award winners, on behalf of Burlington English, we would like to present them with an award of $125. So Sandra Crawford, Lucero Franco, Khadija Mauti, and Juan Ramos will be receiving this award on behalf of Burlington English.
Hey, Yvonne,
Again, yes, ma'am.
This is Marcia. Will
Hi.
you just tell a little bit about how they could have applied for this too?
Well, any teacher that teaches ESL could have nominated pretty much, and what we kind of came up with the criteria. And again, this is the first time we've done this, so we were kind of brainstorming how we could recognize some outstanding students. You know, if you just have those students that are using BE and that have just been rock stars in BE, you know, they've shown up to class, they've done the work, they ask good questions, but have just been some really rock stars in the program. That's kind of the criteria that we were looking for. And, you know, we had some teachers make some nominations for this particular award. And, you know, this is what we got. These are the names that were turned in. But hopefully what we're planning to do is actually have this on an annual basis. So, you know, whoever's on the committee for next year, we can really brainstorm some more, have a little bit more time to really, you know, get some more things, a little bit more concrete, and maybe get really creative with it. And then we can be able to make this bigger and better. So really, you know, for right now, for this to go around, just really teachers recognizing their rockstar students that are using Burlington in their ESL programs. So thank you for that question, Marcia. And I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, I have one more slide. So again, sorry, go for that current slide. So again, congratulations to all of the winners from your friends at Burlington English. But I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to all of the ESL teachers. So thank you all for what you do on a day-to-day basis. Thank you for your dedication, for your sacrifices that you make on behalf of your adult learners. You all deserve just as much recognition as these students. And we want to thank you for what you do day in and day out. You are the real rock stars, and what you do is greatly appreciated. So again, to all of our winners, congratulations from your friends at Burlington English. We look forward to making this bigger and better next year. And you all have an awesome day. I'm turning it back over to you, Carol. Thank you all so much. And I'll stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Javon. I'm always eager to see ways that we can celebrate and point out all the wonderful things not only our programs are doing, but that our students are doing. So we appreciate that. I'm sure the students will appreciate the award, and we certainly look forward to more ESL teachers nominating their students next year. So thank you, and thank our friends at Burlington English for that.
Thank you all.
All righty. So I'd like to recognize some of our award winners, or all of our award winners actually, from this year. And we begin with Outstanding Adult Education Supporter. This year's winner, and the way that I'm really going to do this is I'm going to let the people who nominated them, I'm going to use their words to describe the work that they've done and why they've been nominated. This year's Outstanding or Adult Education Outstanding Supporter is Mr. Bruce Sykes. And of Mr. Sykes, his nominator says, Mr. Sykes shares a personal relationship with adult education, as his father was a GED graduate. He enjoys sharing his personal story and the impact that the GED had on his father's ability to grow and support his family. As he strives to serve the community through Arkansas Tech, Ozark's career and technical pathways, he also strives to include adult education as a key component. Whether it be looking at concurrent options similar to high school students, non-credit options for classes, or standalone programs served only by adult education, he continues to make sure that adult ed has a seat at the table. He is an advocate at the state level, informing economic developers, legislatures, and what adult education is capable of, and what role our organization could play in their missions and intentions for Arkansans. He believes in our holistic approach and our use of career coaches and other services such as TANF and SNAP to address barriers, and has a firm belief that adult education does a good job with the population we serve, and no one else can do it better. He does not see adult education as a competition for ATU Ozark's certifications of proficiency or technical certificates. Instead, he sees us as a partner and a funnel through which to flow to higher education. He's a stout advocate, willing to speak up on our behalf when others are not. And so we congratulate and appreciate this year's Adult Education Outstanding Supporter, Mr. Bruce Sykes, Chancellor of ATU Ozark. Is anyone representing, as I understand it, Mr. Sykes is not able to join us today, but is there anyone from the ATU Ozark team who would like to speak on his behalf?
Yes, we're all here. Can you hear us?
We can. Hi, Regina.
Hi. I'm so glad Mr. Sykes got this award. He really does support our program, and he pushes us and helps us to get new locations if we're not doing well. And I mean, he's just always very supportive of us. And his dad got his GED, so he has a very huge personal affinity to the GED program. So he believes it changes lives, and he definitely sees it as a different highway for people to achieve their high school diploma. So we're very proud. Yay!
Thank you. Congratulations. to Mr. Sykes, as well as the ATU Ozark team. You are well benefited from having such a strong supporter in your community and on your campus. Wonderful. All right, our next award will be Adult Education Outstanding Paraprofessional. This year, that award is going to Miss Elaine Paget of ASU-BB Adult Education. Of Miss Paget, it is said, I believe Elaine should receive this award because she works very diligently every day to help our program thrive. She is in the middle of the hustle and bustle of daily adult ed life and loves every minute of it. There are always hard times, but Elaine reminds everyone to go back to the loving place whenever they occur. She is the first smiling face that any potential students see when they walk into our department and never fails to give a last word of encouragement to students who are ready or official testing. She is the hub of our wheel, handling calls, emails, files, data entry, testing, training, requisitions, and every kind of task one could imagine. She often repairs furniture, appliances, office chairs, and shelves, as well as provides a shoulder for any student or staff member who needs support. Our program would be crippled without her steady hand and attention to detail. She could not be more deserving of recognition. Congratulations to Miss Ann Paget, representing ASU-BB. Is Ann on our call today? Or I'm sorry, Elaine, I'm sorry. Is Elaine on our call today? Congratulations to Elaine. Is there anyone from ASU-BB who would like to speak on her behalf? If she is not with us. All right. Well, congratulations to Elaine from what your coworkers believe. You are definitely a paragon of paraprofessionalism. And so we thank you for your service to adult education.
This is Gina Ramey. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
I'm the director at the ASU-BB Adult Ed Center, and we are listening. Elaine is present. She's a little shy to be on camera, but we are very proud of her, and we are so appreciative that she was given this award. We love her and cherish her work. We appreciate everything she does, and thank you again. She's here. We're watching. Thanks.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Elaine. Congratulations, ASU-BB. You have a fine person there working with your program. Thank you. Our next award will be for Adult Education Outstanding Instructor. And this year, that award will go to Amy Roberts of North Arkansas College, Adult Education. Of Ms. Roberts, it is said, Amy is a great asset to North Arkansas College Adult Education Program. She has completed her career development facilitator training. She has become a certified distance learning instructor. She has completed training needed to be the civics coordinator for the program and has completed the National Teaching Skills That Matter training. Amy has a passion for those desiring to become US citizens, and she has demonstrated her effectiveness with her students, achieving 100% pass rate on the US citizenship exam and naturalization process. She builds relationships with students of many different nationalities and encourages them to better themselves through continued education and lifelong learning. Amy has made a name for our program and in turn created an atmosphere of encouragement and learning. Amy uses small groups and structure in her classroom to encourage confidence, respect, and student buy-in in non-competitive ways of learning. Amy understands the need to have both cultural and individual distinctiveness in her classroom. Inclusiveness is her key. Amy does a fantastic job of ensuring she creates a welcoming environment in which everyone can celebrate their uniqueness while learning to accept others. This year, we congratulate Ms. Amy Roberts, the recipient of our Adult Education Outstanding Instructor Award. Is Amy with us today? Is there anyone from, hello?
I'm here, it's Amy.
Hi, Amy, congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm very surprised and honored, and I couldn't have gotten this award without the fantastic people that I work with, and it truly is a team effort, and they drive me to be better.
Wonderful. Was everybody able to hear Amy? Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you so much, and congratulations again to Amy Roberts, our Adult Education Outstanding Instructor, representing the North Ark Adult Education Program. Our final award today is going to go to our Adult Education Outstanding Director. And I'm particularly pleased at this year's recipient because this person is a friend. Mr. Robbie Cornelius, Dr. Robbie, my apologies, Dr. Robbie Cornelius, representing the Fayetteville Adult Education Program, has been selected our Adult Education Outstanding Director. Of Dr. Robbie, it is said he never tells you what to do, but makes you think about things and come up with a solution. He always says, do what needs to be done, or if that's what needs to be done, do it. Becoming a director for Dr. Robbie was a big learning curve, but he dug in deep and worked incredibly hard to turn things around for the program. He learned the systems inside and out and took control of LACES data by entering it himself. He kept the staff apprised with weekly meetings and reports so students could post-test and work in a timely manner. Robbie also changed and kept up morale at our center during difficult times. He arrives first in the morning and doesn't leave until the last teacher and student leave the building every day. He is kind, positive, and helpful. He encourages teachers to read books. He encourages them to pursue research topics and to find ways to be happier people and better at our jobs. He's also humble and just a good person. He changes our flat tires, carries our heavy loads, and walks us to our cars on dark nights. Adult Education is fortunate to have him. He knows every student by name. He knows details about his teachers' lives. He works endlessly on files, budgeting, and policies. When we're shorthanded, he rolls up his sleeves and does the hard stuff. He encourages us daily to be our best selves. The students are happy, the staff is happy, we are a good team, and he is our foundation. Representing Fayetteville Adult Education, this year's Outstanding Adult Education Outstanding Director, Dr. Robbie Cornelius. Robbie, are you with us today? Or I guess I should say, would you like to say anything, Robbie?
Carol,
Yes.
I'm Tanya right now. I was not expecting this. You could have gave me a heads up. But
Never.
Yeah, I sincerely appreciate this. It's really surprising. But it's not about me. It's about the people I work with and our students. But this makes it all worthwhile. So I want to thank everyone, and especially these group of ladies that I work with. So thank you. Now I'm going back to testing.
Back to work. I appreciate that. Thank you, Robbie, and thank all of you who took the time out to write such wonderful things about the people who work with your programs and with your organizations. We definitely would suffer by not hearing from you about all the wonderful things that you believe people with your program are doing. And so we always appreciate and we always seek out nominees. And so please remember for next year that we would love to have someone nominated from your program. We'd love to hear about the wonderful things that people are doing around the state. And this is one of the ways that we can recognize that hard work. And so we appreciate not only the nominees and the nominators, we also appreciate those that we were able to award today. We appreciate your work and we appreciate you. I want to take a moment to recognize some retirees from adult education. Let me get myself together here. Over the past year, we've had some longtime adult education employees decide to pursue greener pastures of retirement. And so while we do miss them and miss their presence and their leadership within our programs, we do want to congratulate them on retirement. First up, Ms. Sherry Organ came to ASUBB in 2007 to serve in the Career Pathways program after a long career in Arkansas public schools, including as elementary principal. In 2014, Sherry was promoted to Director of Adult Education, and during her tenure as director, the adult education program received high marks from the Arkansas State Department of Education and was often selected as the program to pilot and innovate new projects. She retired in December of 2020 to move back to Wynn in order to care for her parents. And so while ASUBB thrived under her leadership, they do wish her all the best, as does the state of Arkansas in her retirement years. So thank you, Sherry Organ, for your service and congratulations on your retirement. Ms. Sheila Vernon was a mainstay at the ASUBB program as well, and within the Department of Adult Education. After completing her degree, Sheila began teaching part-time in adult ed in 1986. Shortly thereafter, she joined the department as a full-time teacher. When she retired in December of 2020, she was serving as the chief GED test examiner. She was a tremendous asset to the ASUBB and especially to ASUBB and especially to adult education. She retires after a 34-year career in adult ed. We will really miss her energy and talent with the program. So congratulations to Ms. Sheila Vernon on your retirement as well. Finally, Jean Wallace joined the NWAC adult education program after teaching 25 years with the Rogers Public Schools. Prior to working in Rogers, she worked in Monroe, Louisiana as a teacher and librarian. Jean always said she wished she'd known about adult education a lot sooner. She loved teaching ESL. She always enjoyed attending the ACE conference. Outside of education, Jean has had her pilot's license for about 35 years and continues to be an active member of the International Organization for Women's Pilots. So we thank you all for your service to adult education. Our strength is in our people. It always has been. And we always hate to let the best ones go, but we wish you health, peace, and joy in your retirement. Thank you for your service. Does anyone have any questions or comments about any of our awardees or retirees before we move on? Right. So up next, I hope I didn't skip something. Up next, our schedule for today will include a dynamic presentation from our keynote speaker, Dr. Megan McBride, followed by a lunch break from 11:15 to 12:30, followed by breakout session 1 just after lunch, and then a group session from 1:45 to 3:45 on trauma-informed teaching practices presented by Andrea Eckelberger. Before we dismiss for a break, however, we would like to do a door prize. Okay, and I do want to mention, because I think I maybe forgot to mention this, that each of you who are registered for the conference should receive a swag bag. You may have already received them. Marsha, did we send those out this week?
We gave some out, I think 17 or 18 programs at the training on Tuesday. And then we're going to give the rest of them out at the administrators meeting coming up in just a couple of weeks.
Wonderful. So some of you may have gotten your swag bags and others have not. Fear not. We will get them to you. I hear they have wonderful things in them. And so we certainly want to make sure that you are able to access that. That's one of the challenges of presenting a virtual conference. We want to give you things, but you're not here. And so we have to figure out clever and innovative ways to get you the things that we would like to give you, okay? We are going to do a door prize. Ms. Darissa Kaufman, are you with us?
Of course.
Wonderful. Have we determined which prize we're giving?
Marcia, do you know what is going to be our first door prize to give away is going to be?
How about if we give away a complete set of Paxson Steck-Von GED test preparation, 2nd edition books? It's a total of 8 books, 4 student editions and 4 workbooks in the 4 subjects, valued at $220.
Wonderful.
Yes, amazing. And our winner is Karen Davidson, the lead teacher at ASUBB.
ASUBB is winning today, for sure.
They definitely are.
Would you repeat that name for us, Darissa?
The name is Karen Davidson. She's the lead teacher at ASUBB.
Wonderful. All right. So we will have additional door prizes as the day progresses. I don't want you to feel like you've missed out and you missed your one opportunity to win something. We'll have another door prize. Is it after the afternoon session? And then again, tomorrow during the business meeting, which is on your schedule, we'd love to see you guys there as we talk ACE business. Let me make sure I got through everything. Oh, and I also want to remind you that in the chat, after each session that you attend, there will be a link for a survey. And we would absolutely love and covet your responses to what you've heard and seen here. Again, we love constructive criticism. So whatever you have to say to help us evaluate and improve, we certainly do appreciate that. Again, a survey will be in the chat of each session that you attend, and we would love for you to complete that to give us input. Are there any questions before we take a short break before our continuing our general session with our keynote speaker? So far, so good. Thumbs up. Thumbs down.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I love to see thumbs up. Very nice. Very nice. All right, so we will meet back here at 10:15. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, guys.
Join.
All right, we're going to start in just a few minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It is about that time that I get to introduce our guest speaker. It is a great honor that I get to introduce our 2021 ACE keynote speaker, Dr. Megan McBride. Dr. McBride has a very inspiring story and proof that we as teachers do serve a very important role in our students' lives. Every one of our students deserve a second chance and should be done so with love, compassion, and dignity. Dr. Megan McBride serves as a Dean for Adult Education at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. Megan is a product of the Technical College System of Georgia, having earned a GED and diploma in Business and Medical Administrative Technology from Southern Regional Technical College in Moultrie, Georgia. With hopes of becoming a teacher, Megan went on to earn an Associate's of Science degree from Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College in 2005 and a Bachelor's of Science degree in Social Studies Education from Valdosta State University in 2007. After teaching high school social studies for several years, Megan pursued a graduate degree so that she could access a career in higher education. In 2011, she earned a Master's of Arts degree in history from Valdosta State and went on to teach college-level history. To advance her career even further, Megan next completed a doctoral degree in curriculum and instruction at Valdosta State. She then enrolled in the University of Georgia, where she's currently pursuing a Doctor of Philosophy degree in Learning, Leadership, and Organization Development. Her achievements have led to being named Distinguished Alumni of Southern Regional Technical College in 2017, Doctoral Student of the Year at Valdosta State in 2017, and Distinguished Alumni in History at Valdosta State University in 2019. Megan currently resides in metropolitan Atlanta. She regularly speaks at events across the state, sharing her story as evidence of the transformational power of adult education and technical education. Please help me welcome Dr. Megan McBride.
Thank you, Darissa, and good morning, everyone. Good morning, Arkansas. Thank you so much to ACE for inviting me to deliver remarks at your 2021 conference. I was really looking forward to joining you all in person. I've never been to Arkansas, never been to Little Rock, but I'm so glad we were still able to be here to talk about adult education. And I'm so honored to be your keynote speaker. Again, my name is Megan McBride, and I am a practitioner of adult ed, a student of adult ed, and most importantly, a beneficiary of adult ed as a former adult learner. And by the way, I'm a monitor diva, so I have a whole bunch of monitors here. I can see the chat. I can see all of your names. Only one person has their camera on, but I can see everything. So if you drop things in the chat, it really does make me feel good to see those. So I appreciate your comments. And if I learned anything in the pandemic, it's how to be a really good multitasker. So I can read the chat and steer this thing all at the same time. So thank you for the love that you're showing in the comments, and keep that up, because the best thing about giving these keynotes is how it helps everyone feel motivated and inspired. And I hope that today my remarks help you feel motivated, inspired, encouraged, not only professionally as adult ed practitioners, but also personally. So with that, I'm going to get started. So although I do serve as vice president for the largest adult education program in Georgia, here in Metro Atlanta, I'm not here right now to talk about these unprecedented times or pivoting to remote learning or any of the stuff we've dealt with in the pandemic, at least not now. But definitely join me in my workshop at 12:30. I think it's 12:30 your time. I get a little confused if you're interested in some of that stuff. Today, I'm here to talk to you about something that will never change with regard to adult education, and that is its transformational power. And I'm going to demonstrate that power to you through my personal story of overcoming obstacles. And I have to say the theme of this conference is perfectly relevant to my story: resilience to reinvention, transformation in the world of adult ed. And at the end of this, I think we're going to come full circle to that theme. Although the theme really refers to our institutional power to transform, our systematic power to transform, this story is personal, and it's how I have gone through my reinvention thanks to adult education. So it's story time. So you can sit back and grab your coffee and relax and kick your feet up and enjoy the show. So I'm going to start with a quote from Booker T. Washington. And I borrowed this from Dan Griffith, and I think he's presenting later on for you all today. Dan's a buddy of mine from Essential Education. He gave this, he shared this quote once. And so Dan, if you're out there watching now or later or one day, thanks for letting me have this quote. And it's from Booker T. Washington. And he said, "I have learned that success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which she has overcome while trying to succeed." And so the story I'm sharing with you today that Darissa kind of outlined in my introduction exemplifies that point. And I believe that you'll find that my success was remarkable not because of where I am now, but because of the obstacles that I overcame to get here. So I'm going to go back to my childhood for a minute. This is a picture, or two pictures, of me and my daddy. It's what we call our dads down in South Georgia. And I was the only child of a single father, which if you were around in the 1990s, that was relatively unusual. I found a statistic that only 4% of US households with minor children were led by a single father in 1990. So very unusual. And there's a very 1990s couple of pictures there, me with my Little Mermaid shirt and my Cabbage Patch doll. It looks like it might've been a gift or something, with my dad. And my mother and I were estranged. So my mother was kind of in and out of my life until one day she just wasn't there at all when I turned 12. And so most of my life was pretty normal, aside from the fact that I was raised by a single father. But when my mother left for good when I was 12 years old, that's when my behavior issues started. So prior to that, I was a very high achieving student. I was in a gifted program throughout elementary and middle school, and that all changed right after my mother left. So, you know, adolescent years are already kind of weird. And I was dealing with, you know, that with my mother. And then I met this boy the summer before I started high school. So I was turning 14 years old when we met. And he was a troubled child himself. He came from a dysfunctional family. And even at that age, he was in and out of incarceration. And when I met him, he was in a juvenile camp for some behavior problems, and he had come home to visit. Anyway, I started high school that year. I was 14 years old. And in my very first semester of high school at 14 years old, I got pregnant. I didn't really know I was pregnant, immediately, but quickly I kind of started to think I might have been pregnant, and school became the least of my concerns. I was shocked, I was terrified, I was traumatized, I was embarrassed, so much so that I was in denial about my pregnancy. And for the entire 9 months, I never received any prenatal care, and I never told anyone I was pregnant. But nonetheless, I carried my baby to term. And we thought he was going to be born on September the 8th, but he wound up being born on September the 1st. So I carried him almost the entire time. I went to the doctor about 2 weeks before he was born. That's when we finally realized I was pregnant and I was going to have a baby. So there I am, where I was in the hospital on what would have been my first week of 10th grade, my second year of high school. But instead, I was there delivering my first child, a healthy baby boy who I named Jacob. And this was just 6 weeks after I turned 15 years old. When people realized I was pregnant and then having a baby a week later, my family and my friends advised me to give my baby up for adoption. Obviously, if we had spent the last 9 months not knowing anything, I had nothing prepared, not a diaper, not a bottle, nothing at all, a bed, a crib. So my situation didn't look promising for raising a baby. I was still, as you can see in that picture, very much a child. My situation with my dad was not ideal. Without getting into the details, it was not great. And of course, my mother and I were estranged. And the only person in the state of Georgia I was related to was my father. So I didn't have any family there to help me. And my child's father, of course, was incarcerated. But despite all of those scary barriers, I made the decision to raise my child on my own. And at that moment, on September 1st, 1998, my identity became that of a teenage mother. That is not the best identity to have if you've ever been one. It's a scary place to be. So never again would I be normal or traditional. I was an exception. I was a statistic. And there on the right, you can see the statistic that made me anomalous. 3/4 of teen births are to mothers who are 18 or 19 years old. So becoming a mother at 15 is very young. It's statistically unusual. And I delivered my son at 11:38 at night. And first thing the next morning, a CPS, Child Protective Services investigator, was in my hospital room, and she became a regular presence in my life for the next 3 years. And at the time, I felt like dealing with her was a nightmare. It felt like an invasion of my privacy. I was rarely cooperative with her because I felt like she was intruding in my life. But in retrospect, that CPS investigator really connected me with a network of resources and services that helped lift me out of this hole I had dug for myself. And when I didn't know how to get out of it. So being pregnant for my first year of high school caused me to get really behind. Of course, like I said, I couldn't focus. I missed my first period class just about every day because of my morning sickness. When I was in class, I couldn't concentrate because I was embarrassed that I was pregnant. A lot of times I had to run out of the room and go to the bathroom because I was sick. I had hyperemesis and I didn't even know it. And when I got bigger, I was terrified of what might happen when I went into labor. But strangely, I never really considered the fact that there was going to be a baby at the end. And then, as I mentioned, instead of starting my second year of school, I delivered a child. And I was too young to drop out at 15 years old, of course. So I had to make other arrangements. So after I did hospital homebound for a while, I returned to high school, but in an alternative school that operated in the evening. And this alternative school was for students with severe behavioral issues. Here's a picture of me on the left. I was doing school during the day while taking care of Jacob. You can see he's a little toddler there. And I went to school in the evening. And there I was doing a little project while Jacob was sitting beside me. I was miserable though. I didn't have many friends. And I didn't have any friends at the school. And it was very militaristic and I couldn't socialize. And it just wasn't a good place for me. And the friends that I had prior to having a baby were living their normal teenage lives. And I couldn't spend the night with them anymore because I had an infant and their parents wouldn't allow them to stay with me. So I was missing out on my entire adolescence. I missed out on extracurricular activities, on football games, prom, everything that people do in high school. I missed out on because I was caring for my baby. And as if being a teen mom at 15 wasn't hard enough, I soon further complicated my life. And in this second picture, I was 16 years old and I was expecting another child. And actually, this was my third pregnancy. My second pregnancy, I did not carry to term. But this third pregnancy I did. And this was the tipping point for me. You can see I'm holding Jacob now. He's about 2 years old in this picture, probably just turned 2. But it was difficult enough trying to be a parent in high school, but to do it all again seemed really overwhelming. And I knew I was at the point where I could not catch up in high school. I had not earned a single credit. And by this time I should have been in the 11th grade. So I dropped out of high school, having never finished the 9th grade. The last grade I finished completely was the 8th. I was already really embarrassed by being such a young teenage mother, made worse by my children's father being in and out of jail, same father, but he was incarcerated and then out many times throughout our relationship. And then I was a high school dropout. So I was really ashamed of where I was in life. And everyone around me had lost any shred of hope they had for me. No one was supportive of where I was. And I understand, thinking back, why they felt that way. My family was disappointed. I was disappointed. And I had this mountain of barriers and obstacles that I had to try and overcome. And the dominant narrative about teenage mothers and high school dropouts is that there's a lot of trouble for the kids as well. And what I realize now, looking back, is that is what made this situation truly transformative for me, was that I didn't want my children to have poor outcomes because of the decisions I had made. And the research shows, problematic as it may be, that children of teenage mothers are more likely to drop out of high school, be incarcerated, become teen parents, and live in poverty. So my children were more likely to have poorer outcomes compared to children born to older parents. And that is a narrative that still dominates to this day. So I felt really guilty for bringing my children into these circumstances. So to me, it was very black or white. I had to do something with my life, or my kids were going to be incarcerated or live in poverty their whole life. And so because I couldn't change the past or make myself older, I had to do something to change my present and my future. So I decided I wanted to get a job. And I felt like getting a job that I could make seem like it was a career would convince people that I had not ruined my life and I could redeem myself. So I quickly realized there's not a whole lot of work out there for I guess I must have been 17 when I dropped out, for a 17-year-old single mother of 2 who had dropped out of high school. So I needed a GED, and I knew only one place to go get my GED, and that was at a local technical college. And I know we're in a different state, but in Georgia, the technical college system, which is a 2-year community college system, houses our GED, or adult literacy programs. So there's 22 colleges throughout the state, and I went to one of my current college's sister colleges, Southern Regional Technical College, down in the booming metropolis of Moultrie, Georgia. And I'm kidding about that, it's a very small town. I went and asked for help. And of course, I took the TABE. The TABE was a lot different back then, but I found out I needed remediation, and you guessed it, math especially. So I took classes at the local technical college in the GED program until my teachers, this all should sound familiar to all of you, until my teachers felt like I could pass the test. And on December 18th, 2000, I passed the GED exam. Now, I don't know if you all can see me right now, but if you can, this GED that's in the picture here is also hanging right by my head in my office now. So there's my GED. Of course, my maiden name is on it. So I finished my GED in 2000. I should have graduated high school in 2001. I was 9 months pregnant with my second child when I took this test and passed it. And 9 days later, I gave birth to my second child. I was 17 years old. And here are some pictures from the delivery with my best friends. Of course, remember, I don't have parents at the time to be supportive. My mother was, and she didn't even know I was a baby. I don't even think she knew about my first son. She didn't know I was having this second child. I also hid that pregnancy for about 7 months. But my best friends were like my child's surrogate parents, and they were there at the delivery. And you can see they're having a lot of fun. They're 16 and 17 years old too. I don't know nothing about having a baby, but there we were. So I was really proud of myself for getting my GED. Unfortunately, no one was proud of me. No one celebrated with me. It still had a very strong stigma associated with it. Nobody came to my GED graduation, and people joked all the time that I had only earned a good enough diploma. And I remember my friends looking down on me and making fun of me for having a GED when they graduate from high school. But I was motivated to turn my life around. And you can see in this picture over here, I have this little planner. And this is where I was scheduling out the things that I had coming up in my life. And I remember planning to go back to school right after I had my baby. I felt like I was finally free from the shackles of pregnancy and I could go to college and try and get some training. So for the next few months, I adjusted to being a single 17-year-old mother of two. And there I am. This is a picture one of my friends sent me. She found there's Jacob, he's a toddler, and here's Bailey, my second child. He was an infant. And here is a picture of me and one of my best friends doing my son's, probably his first birthday. Yeah, Winnie the Pooh. That was his first birthday party. I didn't have a driver's license or a car. My children's father, again, incarcerated in and out. He had just been released from jail, and it was an abusive relationship. So I was navigating some drama associated with that. But I knew for sure this time I wasn't going to get myself pregnant again. I figured it out after 3 times what was causing it. So I knew that wasn't and I began planning for my future. So I knew I wanted to attend a university, but that seemed really far out of reach. And I was from rural South Georgia, where universities are not just on every corner. It was over an hour away to get to the nearest university. And I didn't think they would even accept me. But I had to get out of my dad's house and I had to be able to meet my children's needs to be able to go to school. So I needed a job, but I didn't have any job related skills. Again, I had dropped out of school without ever finishing the 9th grade. And, you know, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you didn't really learn a whole lot about computers in high school. So, and moving into the 2000s, it was more common to see offices with computers and Microsoft and stuff. So I decided to go, to the technical college. This is my first. This is where I went and got my GED. So I just stayed there. It's all that I knew. And I flipped through the catalog and chose a program that I thought would, that I would like and that would match my little skill set, which was business administrative technology. So in this program, this was a turning point in my life for sure. And the skills that I acquired, like using Microsoft Office and typing and document production and customer service, are skills that I still use to this day. But more importantly, at the technical college, I learned how to balance being a student and a parent, something that high school was not designed for. And everything I was not able to do as a mother in high school, I was able to do at Southern Regional. So I joined a student organization and served as the president of my chapter. And I participated in and won competitions in the business related competitions that we had. I was nominated as a student of the year. And importantly, my very favorite teacher invited me to be her work study student. And she treated me like her teacher's aide. And it was that experience that led me to my career in education. And while I was there, my confidence as a student skyrocketed. I was really successful at Southern Regional. And so that launched me into kind of the next phase of my life. So immediately after I finished my programs at Southern Regional, I managed to get a job in part-time, but it was a job in customer service, earning just above the minimum wage. And if you were around back then, you know, the minimum wage was, federal minimum wage was $5.15 an hour. I was making a whopping $6 an hour. So I thought I was doing good. It wasn't much, but I had to demonstrate typing proficiency and other skills that I had gotten at Southern Regional to access this job. So I used all the skills to get the job and to sustain myself. And soon with my little paycheck, I was able to buy myself a $500 car and rent a subsidized apartment. The Department of Family and Children's Services paid my child care. And without that assistance, I could not have afforded to go to work. I filled my pantry and my refrigerator with groceries that I bought with food stamps. And because I was still earning very little money with my part-time job, my caseworker, who I told you about when I gave birth to my first baby, she arranged for my children to get Christmas presents donated every year. And to this day, I think about the times that my children's Christmas presents were donated from DFACS, and I never take for granted my ability to buy their presents now at Christmas. But eventually, I worked really hard at that little job, and my temporary part-time job became full-time and permanent. I was promoted to supervisor and became salaried. And that was all I wanted. If you remember from the outset, I just wanted a job that I could make look like a career so that people would think I had overcome. But once I got there, I still wasn't satisfied. And that's kind of been the story of my life. It's like, I'm never done. So I was really caught in the trap of comparison. And I tell people not to get caught in that trap because comparison really is the thief of joy, but it motivated me. I saw my classmates going off to college and enjoying all that came along with college, and I really felt left behind. I wanted to do what they were doing. I wanted to go to college. So feeling this inadequacy and a desire to remedy all this damage I had caused, I was compelled to continue investing in my education. And having dropped out of high school, again, I still didn't feel quite ready for the university. So I took another baby step and I enrolled at a junior college in a neighboring town. And I understand you all have probably never heard of any of these colleges. They're small colleges in rural Southwest Georgia. But anyway, so I went to AACAE. It's a little farming school in a small town called Tifton, Georgia, just north of Tallahassee, Florida. So I struggled really bad at the junior college. I had no idea how to navigate things like course withdrawals. So I failed algebra a few times. And I would have withdrawn had I known that was an option. My dad didn't go to college. He never talked to me about college. I didn't know any of this stuff. I couldn't do college, like traditional students, because I was still a young mother of two. When I started at AACAE, I must have been 19 or 20 years old. So I was working full time. I was a young mother. I was single, living on my own. I was commuting 45 minutes each way to AACAE from home. And I attended class from 8 in the morning until 12. And then I worked from 1 p.m. to midnight every night. And I did my homework on my lunch breaks at work and on the weekends. And I struggled really badly, but I made it through. And I completed my associate's degree, and I was ready to move on to the next level, to that big, scary university that I didn't think I could get into. I was terrified to attend a university. I still remember the feelings that I was not going to be able to succeed at Valdosta State, but I had no other option at this point. My 2-year degree in education it really needed to be finished out if I were to do what I wanted to do and have this career in education. So gaining access into a university once felt impossible, but I did it because I had my GED and my 2-year degree. So at 21 years old, at the time, mother to a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old little boy, I became a student at Valdosta State University to finish my bachelor's degree in education. And even though I felt like I was really behind everyone else because of my background, I finished my bachelor's degree in 4 years. 99% of teenage mothers are unable to complete a bachelor's degree by the time they're 30 years old. And I got mine when I was 23. So I was able to work around all those barriers that teen mothers often face to get my bachelor's degree at still a very young age. So next I taught high school, which was kind of ironic because I never made it to the classes that I taught myself. But what I really want, and by the way, I still tell people I'm in recovery. I'm a recovering high school teacher. That was not for me. What I really wanted was a career in higher ed. Inspired by that teacher, you remember, who gave me the work study position. She really inspired me to get a job at a technical college working, doing what she was doing. But I had no idea how to get there. I was like, how do you major in technical college teaching? I don't know. But at this point, I had kind of figured out how to get there. So I decided to get a master's degree. Still at Valdosta State University. One of the things about non-traditional students, of course, is we can't go very far. I couldn't drag my students off, or my children off and go to another university. So I stayed at VSU and I chose to study history, hoping that one day I could teach history at the college level. And I did. So there I am getting my master's degree from Valdosta State in 2011. I was really proud, but I knew that there could be a glass ceiling for me in higher ed if I stopped with a master's degree. But I did teach college after this. I taught college level history at the same school where I got my GED at Southern Regional and at a couple of universities. So next, I decided to pursue something that before I had never even dreamed of. It was not on my radar. It never seemed achievable. And I applied for a doctoral program, again at Valdosta State University, because I still have my kids and I'm still living in my small Southwest Georgia town. The only place I could go face to face. So I was accepted, and 4 years later, on July 24th, 2018, I was addressed for the first time as Dr. Megan McBride. And here I am at my dissertation defense with one of the members of my committee. And I was so excited. This honestly was the best day of my life, the day they called me doctor for the first time. But also, not only was I called, yes, it's the best feeling in the world. It still is the best feeling 3 years later. But on the same day, so I defended my dissertation at, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And earlier that morning, I had also been offered a position as Dean for Adult Education at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. So if you can just imagine how overcome with emotion I was on this day. I didn't know what to be excited about. Is it that I'm doctor or that I'm dean? It was so exciting. So 2 weeks later, I quickly relocated to Metro Atlanta. All this happened, in one day, in the same day. I relocated to Metro Atlanta, and which was 4 hours north of where I live. And I don't know if you all are familiar with Georgia, but I'm from the Florida border. And so Atlanta is at the top of the map. So 4 hours away, I moved and I stepped into one of our sister schools, and we're Southern Regionals, where I got my GED and my 2 diplomas. Now I'm at a sister school, and our system is called the Technical College System of Georgia. So we're all very related, you know, we're kind of just the same thing in different cities. So when I went to work on my first day of campus, now here's where I'm going to speak your language. If you ever walked into an adult ed program and you did not come from adult ed, you can imagine how overwhelmed I was. I did not work in adult ed, okay? Since the day I left as a GED student to the day I came here, I was working in other education programs. I was teaching college history, I was teaching high school history. So I was overwhelmed. I was confronted with this alphabet soup of acronyms: IET, TABE, GED, ASE, ABE, ESL. What is all this? I didn't understand MSG, EFL, you know, NRS. I didn't understand anything anyone was saying to me. It is another language that we speak. And I felt like an imposter. I felt like it was a mistake that someone had given me this job. And I was afraid every morning when I got to work, someone was going to tap me on the shoulder and say, "We figured you out. You don't belong here." But much like the system did 20 years ago when I walked through the doors as a pregnant teenage mother and high school dropout, they loved me and supported me here and wrapped their arms around me while I figured it out. And over 3 years later, I'm still here and thriving. And a year and a half ago, I was even promoted from dean to vice president. Oopsie, I keep going the wrong way. And so sorry, there I am getting my doctorate degree. I forgot to show that picture in 2018. Anyway, I have been transformed. And here is me and my baby, Jacob, you know, when he was born in 98. And then here we are he's a lot taller than me now. And I can't hold him anymore, but here we are the day I graduated with my doctorate degree. So I have been fully transformed by this. And it all started with the GED that I got back in 2000. And I think a lot about, remember I told you when I gave birth to my baby here, this was the day I assumed the identity of a teenage mother. Of course, identity is this incredible invisible force that controls your whole life. Your identity is how you're recognized and understood by others. And so in terms of identities, you know, when I was a little girl, I was at the intersection of multiple. I was a pregnant child, I was a teenage mother, I was a high school dropout, I was a GED graduate, and now I'm a 6-time college graduate working on my 7th. I'm now a vice president at a college overseeing the largest adult education program in Georgia. As I mentioned, I'm working on my second, well, I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I'm working on my second doctorate degree, which is a PhD in learning leadership and organization development at the University of Georgia. I finally got into one of the big schools now that I live a little closer. So I have been made and remade continually as I went from GED graduate to vice president of adult education. And like one of my favorite people, authors, Michelle Obama, in her book, I Am Becoming, and very little, perhaps nothing of me is original. And I'm the combined effort of people like you who invested in me along the way. And Michelle Obama, I'm going to quote her here. She reminds us, when you've worked hard and done well and walked through that doorway of opportunity, you do not slam it shut behind you. You reach back and give other folks the same chances that help you succeed. And that is such an important reminder for me as I am becoming. And I consider the work that I do in adult ed as an opportunity for me to help people navigate obstacles in the same way that others have helped me, just like you help your students. So part of doing that involves me living in my story. I'm reading your comments, by the way. Thank you so much. I'm looking at all of them. For years, I would lie and say that I graduated from high school. And oops, why do I keep doing that? I even have proof of when I did that. Here is an article. When I was in my master's program, I was awarded a scholarship for academic achievement. And when I had to write up the little bio to go in my local newspaper, I put that I was a 2001. Remember, I told you I was supposed to graduate in 2001, but I got my GED in 2000. I lied to those people and said I was a 2001 graduate of Colquitt County High School, where I'm from. But now I proudly tell people I'm a GED graduate. As I mentioned, it's right here behind me in my office. And by having a doctoral degree, I hope that I can change the way people think about those of us with GEDs. And I use my platform here to share a powerful counter to the dominant discourse on high school dropouts. And as a former high school dropout and teenage mother, I now get to live in my story and change the narrative on what society thinks girls like me can and cannot do. So the point that I want to drive home today is that we all face obstacles. And some of those obstacles are ones that we create for ourselves, like many of those that I faced throughout my life. But the sad reality is that many people, including maybe some of those that are listening today, some of you, or those that we serve in adult ed, have to overcome obstacles that they did not place in front of themselves. So maybe they have to work twice as hard to reach their goals through no fault of their own. So the message that I share with those who have been counted out, like the high school dropouts, like the teen moms, you have to believe in your ability when the world views you as less than. The world was ready to discard me and my children. No one believed that I could go on to do big things. But then I got an education, and that is something that no one can ever take away from me. And it opened so many doors for me. Education really opened doors that would have absolutely been closed to me. The GED especially opened doors for me. I would have never been able to get into college. And the door cracked open for me the day I entered that GED program. And getting this little piece of paper here completely changed my life and my trajectory. And if I had listened to all of the forecasts that people had for me, I would have never experienced this transformation. I'm going to say that again. If I had listened to what people thought was going to happen to me, I would have never gotten where I am today. I had to believe in myself when nobody else did. Their predictions could have been a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's the danger of these dominant discourses about people like me. And you may have a background that's similar to mine, or you may know someone, and people may tell you, they told me that you can't achieve something because of who you are, what you've done, or make a positive impact on the world, maybe because of the color of your skin, or your gender, or where you're from, or who your parents are, or the mistakes that you've made. But my story is evidence that you can. And I have these affirmations. I'm going to show you my affirmations. I'm a firm believer in affirmations, that if you say things that are going to happen to you, that they will come true. It's the law of attraction. So I'm going to show you my affirmations. Here we go. When I was 17 years old and a high school dropout with 2 children, if I would have told people that these were the things I wanted to do in life, that I wanted to work on a PhD when I already had an EDD at the University of Georgia, that I wanted to be a college president, that I wanted to be a published book author, and I'm currently writing my memoir, so that's what I'm referring to when I say a published book author, and I wanted to be a public speaker, I know they would have probably thought to themselves, she cannot do that. They might have even told me that. There's no way. Girl, you dropped out of high school, you got 2 kids by the time you're 16. There's no way. Yes, Dakota, my story is on YouTube. You can show it to your students. They may have laughed at me. They might have told me I couldn't do it, but I did it. Very few people were willing to bet on me when I was a teenager, but now when I tell people I want to be a college president, they believe in me and they encourage me. No one tells me that I probably can't do that. So I hope that my story has been inspiring for you as professionals in the field of adult ed. Also on a personal level, oopsie, hold on, let me lost myself there. Okay, also on a personal level, if you face obstacles in your paths. So as your journey through life, career, or education progresses, you will certainly find obstacles in your path, whether you put them there or someone else does. As you remember, statistics show that I had seemingly insurmountable obstacles to overcome, but I overcame them by constantly investing in my education and my career and receiving help wherever and whenever it was available, even from that pesky CPS investigator who showed up in my hospital room the day after I had my baby. So I'm going to end with a question and an answer. Can those of us with self-imposed or societally imposed obstacles overcome them? And to answer, I'm going to borrow from Michelle's husband, Barack Obama. Sí se puede. Yes, we can. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Amanda. I see you there applauding. I appreciate you all. And that is it for my presentation this morning.
Thank you so much, Dr. McBride. It is always inspiring to hear you speak. I know that I got to sit in and watch you last year at COABE, and when we were coming up with guest speakers, you were the very first one that popped into my head. You are a true inspiration. And I think that we at ACE and all the teachers and educational people in Arkansas really appreciated your story today.
Thank you so much. And if anybody ever wants to have me speak to your students, I'm happy to do that. Just I'll drop my email. Well, I don't know if you have my email. Also, join me in the session at 12:30. I'm going to talk to you about what I'm doing as an adult ed administrator, and happy to share my contact information. As I think Dakota mentioned in the comments, my story is available on YouTube. I've always wanted to say this, Google me. I gave this keynote at COABE in 2020, the first year of the pandemic. So if you want to just show that, you certainly can. I do find that it is inspirational to students who are going through, who are where I was. So please feel free to share my story with your students or invite me to the class one day. Happy to do it. And thank you so much. It was such an honor to be here, and I'm loving all your comments. Thank you so much. That makes me feel so good.
Yes. And like Megan said, she will be doing a breakout session at the 12:30, 1:30 today, along with several other great presenters. So we will adjourn and take a lunch, but our breakout session will begin at 12:30, and you will have links for those breakout sessions. So everyone enjoy your lunch and see you back at 12:30. Thank you.